I don't know why the thought never crossed my mind, but it makes sense that the first 3 episodes of Dandadan Season 2 would have a different animation style than the rest of the season. Being packaged into a movie, I'm sure that the production process and general direction were significantly altered from the usual run of show. But man, as someone not expecting it, the whiplash back to something more resembling Dandadan's first season was strong. I'll readily admit that for the first half of this episode, I thought things looked a little too clunky and chunky. But by the time we wrapped up, I felt like a lot of the charm that I was missing at the start of this season was back in full swing. Let's talk about it. Welcome to week 4 of Frame by Frame, the series where every week I make a video on each episode of these 4 shows, covering one big idea along with some smaller segments. I hope you'll subscribe to follow along for the rest of the season. I'd love to have you aboard. Let's start with a brief rundown of the plot of episode 4. With the volcano erupting and lava running down to the town, Momo deduces that it was the fountain at the hot springs earlier that was the sign of the volcano's impending eruption, not the giant worm. Using the giant worm's corpse as a big hose, she starts to put out some of the magma. The Kito family stops her, but the priest from earlier steps in. He's a student of Seiko, as it turns out. After fighting for a bit, the evil eye shows up and joins the action. After another little bit of fighting, Mr. Mantis Shrimp shows up, along with Seiko and Taro. With all of their powers combined, they seal the evil eye in Taro's body. Momo rushes back to the house, just to see the underground pit filled with magma. After the magma is lifted out of the hole, she finds Okorun and Turbo Granny sealed inside. She and Okorun share a tender moment together. Next up is The Shot, the scene from the episode that really caught my eye. For today's episode, I want to talk about the scene of Momo rushing back to the home to try to save Okorun. I really like how they used framing to imbue a sense of urgency into the shots. We follow right behind Momo here, or right in front of Momo in this shot. Keeping the camera moving makes us feel more in the moment. And then, when it seems like all hope is lost at the magma pit, we get these shots where Momo is very small in them, extending her helplessness into her presence on the screen. The dynamic lighting in this scene is also really interesting. We go from pitch dark to the soft glow of the magma to the harsh yellow lighting of the spaceship. A shot like this that uses all 3 is particularly noteworthy. It was a nice episode visually, but this sequence specifically stood out the most in my mind. Let's get into the main idea for today's episode. As I said in the intro, I think that the stylistic differences between this episode and the previous 3 are stark. In that funny Dandadan way, some shots look objectively worse here than they would have in the style of the start of the season, but the overall package feels infinitely more dynamic and stylized than its precursor. This is not a show that takes itself too seriously, and the style reflects that. It also makes those brief moments of stellar visuals really stand out, which gives the animation a cool ebb and flow. Last episode, I said that some of the things that I missed the most were those goofier action frames, and they were back in full force here. I think that this show, more than any other I've seen, ties the characters to their visual mannerisms and quirks. Regaining these and seeing them in action felt like meeting these characters again after a long break away. The other thing that this episode reclaimed was its sense of humor. Being able to drag the triumphant return of our friends out for so long that it becomes a joke without it being annoying is great stuff. The shot of the evil eye patiently waiting really got me. All of the shot compositions were just perfect. And then pivoting right back into the action is another great example of Dandadan's signature grasp on its tone and how to manipulate it. The dialogue felt sharper, and I think a lot of it had to do with more characters being present. More backboards to bounce conversations off of just made everything feel more lively again. And I'm sure you're surprised that I haven't talked about the end of the episode yet. I've spent 3 episodes whining about how there hasn't been an emotional core to the story so far. And honestly, I liked it, but I think it's a testament to everything else this episode got right that it felt more like the cherry on top than something essential. If that's what the relationship between Okorun and Momo can be for the rest of the season, then I think it means they'll be doing great. Our next segment is Audience Corner, where I ask what you thought of the episode. I put up a poll on my channel asking you to rate this episode from 1 to 4 stars, and to include a comment why if you wanted. First up is my own score, which I would say is a 3 stars. Definitely liked it, but a 4 stars is something that really blows me away. But what did you all give it? After tallying up the votes, you all scored it a 3.6 out of 4. So it seems like you liked it a little more than I did. Brachialer Bang here highlights the comedy of the episode and how they think that's what Dandadan should be like. I couldn't agree more. I think that the tone here is much more in line with what I have come to expect from the show. And Nobody Is Here says that this episode saved the season for them, and how they missed the Okarun-Momo dynamic from season 1. Again, totally agree. It's almost shocking how little interaction there is between our two main characters across the first quarter of the season. I'm just glad to see that dynamic back in action. Our last segment today is my one big question looking ahead. Today, I'm asking, what does the return to business as usual look like for Dandadan? Presumably, they're returning home now, and though we still have a possessed Gigi on our hands, there's going to be a return to familiar people and places. I am interested to see what drives the plot forward now, and if we get a delayed sort of welcome back that would normally come at the start of the season, but is here instead. And that's it. That's the first episode of week 4 of Frame by Frame. Stay tuned for next episode covering My Dress Up Darling. If you missed any past episodes, I have playlists for all of these series on my channel. As always, liking and subscribing helps a lot and will keep you in the loop. I'm SlamAnime, and have a great rest of your day.